What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of the Cubcast, our daily news section we are running here on the channel, exploring different news stories around international music. We're based here in the UK, so that of course covers for international music, the likes of Afrobeats, Amapiano, dancehall, reggae, and everything in between. Today, we're getting into a very exciting selection as we jump into another edition of the Tracklist Tier List, a new series we've been running, exploring albums in depth and actually rating the tracks individually, as well as the album overall, which I really enjoy doing. We love to get in depth here at CubCamTV. As always, if you are new to the channel, make sure you are getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right hand side of the page, turning notifications on, of course, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. Today, the album we are going to be breaking down is an album that has dominated this channel for a hot minute now, an album that you guys were so anticipated for, and an album I have really enjoyed doing reaction videos for and general content as well, and that is, of course, Black Sherif's The Villain I Never Was. Putting it very clearly and quickly, the two tracks off this album are the two highest viewed videos on this channel in regards to reactions. The reaction I put together and Cubcast episode I put together surrounding the album launch and the track listing and everything along those lines is the highest viewed podcast we've got on the channel. So to be entirely honest, there is a lot of content on this channel about Black Sherif, and it seems to be the most popular stuff. That is why we are putting together this track list tier list today, and we're going to jump into it right about now, which I'm very excited for. As you can see, every single track is going to be put into different categories, whether that be banger, solid, good, or filler. I can say right from the jump, I don't think anything's going to be going into filler, because this is a truly incredible project that I have enjoyed so much. Right. We're going to open up right from the jump with the Homeless song. Now, this is a tune that I reacted to yesterday, a tune that I really did enjoy, very refreshing in its arrangement, incredible vocal work, one that really does hit home, very emotive from Black Sherif, but again, minimal instrumentation in the backdrop. The main thing about this is his lyricism and also the direction he's able to go vocally. He takes things in a lot of different directions, and it's genuinely very eye-opening to how talented he is as an artist, and that is why Homeless song is going straight into the solid section. I really enjoy this tune. I think it's one that I'm happy I left a little bit later. It's one of the highest stream tunes as well. So again, very interesting to see where it goes. Oil in My Head is the second track on today's listing. I have made notes, and that's why I'm reading them off in front of me. This one has a wicked chord progression going on throughout the heart of the tune. More vibrant vocal work as well. The hook is incredibly catchy. Out of all the tracks on there, I think this is one of the catchier hooks as well. Love the sort of skippy drums that are going on with this one. It has almost like a kind of post-UKG theme, which is really cool to kind of weave into what Black Sherif is doing, obviously coming from a much more sort of rap-orientated perspective. So this one, for me, is going straight into the banger category. This is a tune that I was, from the second I first listened to it, I've absolutely adored. Moving forward then, we are going to run through these and then give an overall feeling of the album afterwards. 45 is next, and there is no way this one could not be in the banger section. So catchy. It's got a really kind of viral approach. The combination of J5 and the more floaty instrumental structure allows for new directions to be taken. Potentially the catchiest track on the album as well. But again, we've got three tracks in, and we've got literally banger solid. We are talking very high quality levels here on this album from Black Sherif, possibly the strongest overall quality wise of the year that we've reacted to and broken down. We'll see at the end of the year, but this is potentially in that position. We then move into a track that is the second highest viewed reaction video on this channel, and that is of course Soldier, and that for me is going straight into the banger category. This one is the track that kind of launched the album campaign for this project, a track that has been both potent in lyricism and also giving the instrumental a lot of space to breathe. It's introspective and yet euphoric, two things which are very kind of alternative but also align very cleanly as concepts. For me, this is Black Sherif at his very best, both vocally and in the sort of A&R department when it comes to the instrumentals he is using. Absolutely incredible stuff. Prairie the Youngster is next, and this one for me is going into the good category. Now, after such an incredible start, it's always difficult to maintain that kind of flawless level of creativity and album creations. Now, the reason this one is going into good is because it just doesn't hit the same heights as the previous four tracks for me. And it's not necessarily saying this is bad. When you are competing with tracks like Homeless Song, which is only in solid, bear in mind, when you're competing with Oil in My Head, Soldier, and 45, you aren't going to be able to have everything in that banger category. It would actually be unjust to the tracks at the top. But this one is a wicked tune. Don't get me wrong. It's a real compliment to the rest of the album why this is sitting only in good. It just didn't connect with me as much as the 4 previous tracks. The beat is great as well, and it does have a lot of energy behind it, but then that's just my rating. I will leave a link to this tier list in the description down below, so you can send me over your versions of it as well, and please do over on my Twitter at CubKXVU. Coming up next then, we have Sad Boys Don't Fold. This one is also going into good, because for me this one, I'm going to put it in front of Prairie the Youngster if I can. There we go. For me this one is an interesting one. It's definitely a sing-along for the clubs. It's definitely got catchy vocals, more Americanized in its approach. The hook itself is quite dancehall influenced as well, which I feel when you kind of break down the melody, that's where it goes. Good stuff. That's why it's going into good for me. We then get into Kanongo Zongo, another track we've already reacted to. This one is super, super catchy for me. Really, really well put together. I love the use of drill instrumentation again, but that sort of sense of euphoric creativity within the instrumentation is very, very potent. And then you layer in those kind of almost soundtrack style string lines, which add a sense of tensity. And just overall, they really do take the track to a different level. Everything you kind of want from Black Sherif's vocals, again, really pushing that sense of euphoria. So yeah, this one for me is going into the solid section just behind the Homeless song. So there we go. Waste Man is next. This one straight into solid as well. It's actually going ahead of Kanongo Zongo, primarily for the lyricism on this one. I am rating it. It's so potent with the message combined with the passion of Sherif's vocal performance, and the minimalism again of the instrumental. It really is a tune that caught me when I reacted to it. And again, the beat stops in this one. I kind of taking that concept from dancehall and reggae, the idea of stripping an instrumental away and then landing it back in. Absolutely love to hear it. And again, I think it really does work with Black Sherif because he has such an impactful vocal landing every single time. And this is a great example of him utilizing his vocal and utilizing the concept of minimalism. And it's not always about what's there, but what's not there. And I think that's a great thing to have. Coming up next then, we get into We Up. Now, this one is going into good, and it's going into the top of good. Rhythmically, I love this one. And I feel it could have been, but I just feel overall, as an arrangement, more could have been done. I really like the electronic bridges towards the end of the tune, the use of those electronic vocal sounds reminding me of kind of early Weekend creations, that sort of sound, that early kind of OVO sound with the sort of electrified vocal backdrop, which works really well. In comparison to the rest of the album, it does feel a tad fillerish, but it's not going in filler, because if this was to release as a standalone, I would absolutely love it. And it definitely has a place on the album, so it is going into the top of good for me. Moving forward then, as we scroll into the final section, 5 tracks to go. Next up, Toxic Love City. This one going for me straight into solid, and it's going to go into the bottom of solid there. A really unique rap approach on this one with the angelic overdubs and in the more sort of sad boy rap space, which is a sort of subgenre of rap which has developed over the last few years. Sherif sounds super comfortable in this space, and this track is a great example of him in that sort of scenario. It works very, very nicely indeed. Coming up next then, Don't Forget Me. This is potentially my favorite track off the project, and that is a big feat, because this is a big album. It's my favorite track on here, and I think the reason for that is because I'm probably biased. I love hearing modernized takes on sort of roots and reggae in general, but it actually slaps. Sherif sounds so comfortable in this environment, and the whole track just resonates success from start to finish. I think this is also quite an emotional creation as well. Obviously, this is about, well, read it all in the name, Don't Forget Me. There's clearly an emotional element intertwined with the lyricism on this one, and I think he's so good at transferring that into something which allows you to feel euphoria. Euphoria and intricacy are 2 very clear elements on this project that stand out. Coming up next then, Oh Paradise, and this one is also going into that banger section. This is at the top end of solid or at the lower end of banger, but the hook is what pushes it up into banger for me. The emotion, the sound design, the themes of the track are beautifully explored. It's mature and it's bang on the money for what is being discussed. I think it's a great, again, showcasing of what Black Sherif can do when you give him time and space to operate. Now, coming up next, this might be slightly controversial because Kwaku the Traveler is undoubtedly a banger. There's no getting away from that. But whether it's the top of the banger section, I don't know. This was a track that really, I feel, made the world wake up to who Black Sherif is. And it's a track that a lot of people weren't aware of prior to, obviously, people weren't aware of Black Sherif prior to this track. And I think this is the track that really did make the world wake up and say, this guy is new, he's refreshing, but wow, is he on the money. There's no getting away from it. And I think what's going to happen as this, as people kind of continue to listen to this this album. They're going to rate it higher and higher when they realise how many tracks on here are actually bangers. Because we've got one more track to get into it. It's the only feature on the project, and that is, of course, the Second Sermon remix. And you guessed it, it's going into the banger section. I'm going to put it just above 45. The hook is incredibly catchy, and obviously this was a track that was released very much prior to the rest of the project, but there's no doubt in my mind that it 100% holds up in comparison with the rest of the tracks on here. Burners being the feature works really well. One of the catchiest hooks of the year for me, and I think that is why I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going to set this up as a full listing. The only thing I potentially would change with Oh Paradise maybe be going down a level, but overall there are at least 7 bangers on here. It's such a consistent body of work. I've never been so kind of enthralled by, I want to say, a rap project that isn't from an artist that I'm already very invested in. And Black Sherif has come up with this as his album, I'm pretty sure it's his debut album, and it has absolutely blown everything out of the water. Incredible stuff, and I'm so happy to be able to kind of put a review like this together. Don't forget, guys, we do put a link to this tier list in the description down below, so I'm very keen to hear what your thoughts are, and also I'm keen to hear on where you would put certain tracks, so do give it a go, and send me over a screenshot of what you've done via Twitter, at CubKXVU on there. The link is in the description down below, and a link to my Twitter's down there as well. But hopefully you have enjoyed this listing. If you have, make sure you are getting involved, of course, by hitting that subscribe button at the bottom of the page, turning notifications on, of course, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. And we shall see you all next time, my friends. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and peace.
Sounding so good right now, but they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Cub Cam TV. Stay locked.